Hey, yo, this is Jack. Let me talk to you real quick. There is something that I think often goes ignored that is the key to having a successful relationship and a successful marriage. But it is very frowned upon today because it's very unpopular to talk about because we have been taught this lie that you're supposed to always be happy in a relationship and that God wants you to be happy. That's not true. God actually wants you to have joy. And joy is not the product. Joy is something while you chase the product of trying to please God and glorify God. You don't chase after happiness. You chase after God's will for your life. And happiness is something you find along the way. This is very deep, okay? It's not something that's taught correctly. Because I hear a lot of Christians say, I want to get married for happiness. Let me speak to the women. When I and also preface this. A lot of times when I talk to men, they have a problem with not striving for more. They got a problem with being lazy and too content, too complacent where they are. They don't want to get stronger. They don't want to learn more. They are okay being lazy. The women have the exact opposite problem when I talk to them. It's not that they're content, it's that they're greedy. They always want more. They're not content with where they are in their life. They're looking to others with envy. I talk about Instagram, where as you see Instagram numbers go up statistically, women are getting more depressed. They're envious of other women. You see things like surgeries go up, BBLs going up, people getting Brazilian butt lifts, people getting liposuctions. Why? Because women are constantly looking to other women for validation and comparing themselves to them because they are not content where they are. In the Bible, in Ephesians and in Colossians, it talks about one of the main ways to be successful in marriage. You know what that is? It's not necessarily love and gentleness and all this gushy stuff. It's something we rarely talk about, and that's long suffering. Another way of saying long suffering is patience. Long suffering is what you need to have a successful marriage. And you say, oh, that don't sound sexy at all. You're right, it's not sexy. But I'm going to tell you the reality. I hear a lot of women specifically say these things where it's so unrealistic because they don't understand marriage. They will say, I want to get married so I can have somebody to listen to me and love me and travel the world with. And that I can have beautiful children with. And they will understand me. That's not what's going to happen in marriage. It will happen some of the times. You will grow to love each other because love is an action, not a feeling. You will grow to understand each other more. It's not just going to come magically. Sometimes you won't. Let me tell you the reality. Sometimes there's going to be months, weeks, months where you do not get along with your significant other. You're going to be on the opposite page. And guess what? Then she'll get sick or then he'll get sick. And you still got to care for them. Sometimes you're going to have an argument and then somebody going to have a car accident and you still got to go and rescue them. Sometimes the kid's going to come in the middle of y'all fighting and you're going to have to deal with the issue even though you're not on the same page. And you're going to have to defer to what he says because he's the leader of the home. Sometimes you're going to have to listen to whatever you're going to have to put aside your own feelings and do what's right for the family, even though it don't go along with what you feel. Sometimes you're going to have to forbear and say, man, I don't agree with this, but I'm still going to have to go that direction because he's the man of the home. Long suffering. To be able to say, man, this is for the long haul. I'm not going to be able to escape this. You know why I know that a lot of women struggle with long suffering? Because 70% of the divorces are provoked by women. In our generation, we don't know how to long suffer anymore. We don't know how to do anything long period anymore. People always say, well, what's the key to having a successful marriage? Forbearance, long suffering, patience. Knowing that every day is not going to be fun. Every day is not going to be chasing your happiness. Sometimes you have a duty. Sometimes you have to put those things, the fun stuff aside to forbear with one another. Sometimes my wife is going to make me angry and I still got to choose to love her. Sometimes I'm going to make her angry and she still has to go along and say, he's the leader of the home. Sometimes she's not going to be able to talk to other people about our personal, intimate problems because she doesn't need to gossip about our relationship. And me the same. I can't just talk to my friends about things that happen in private because some of those things belong to us. This is long suffering. We have to forbear one another. She's going to have issues that she has a problem getting over. I'm going to help her have to get over. I'm going to have issues and trauma, we talked about the other day, that I'm going to need help getting over. Things that happened in my past she had nothing to do with, she's going to have to help me get over. And recognizing that other person is not perfect. But in our, you know what is messed with a lot of people today? Is people believe in fairy tales. They believe you get married and you live happily ever after. That's no such thing. You find joy throughout the struggle. And if you don't like how that sounds, then marriage is not for you. Marriage has a lot of benefits. We'll talk about that another day. A lot of benefits. I believe you could be a way more productive male being married than you will be unmarried. It's a reason statistically why much more CEOs and leaders of companies are married. There's a reason. We'll talk about that another time. But I'm going to tell you this. If you think marriage is going to be a cakewalk, especially the women out there who I see talk so with this gloss of this is going to be the most beautiful thing ever, and they look at marriage as the wedding instead of the marriage. When you look at marriage like that, you are bound to fail because every day is not going to be happy. People get sick. People gain weight. People get angry. Family members die and it changes who they are. People have traumatic experiences. They have all these things they go through, and guess what? You are called to long suffer through that. Their marriage is not supposed to be an option. You're not supposed to be able to say, oh, this is getting too hard. I'm out. This thing about irreconcilable differences. That should not even be in the Christian home. You should not be able to get divorced because of reconcilable differences. That's nowhere in the Bible does it say that warrants divorce, the breaking of one flesh. The two become one flesh when they come together. Should not be because somebody has a difference of opinion. We're going to talk about how to get through disagreements later on this week. But let me say this. Long suffering is needed. And you have to go in with a realistic view of what it means to long suffer. If you don't have the realistic view, do not expect your marriage to last.